Hello everyone, welcome to Informatica Data Quality videos. In this current session, we will see Data Quality Developer tool, how we can connect repository. For that, one option is to browse and one option is to configure your domain. Let's say assume you do not configure anything, so you have started from scratch. Then you have to prompt for configure domains. That is a very first step, because you have not configured any domain under this Informatica developer tool. So we will be going with configure domains as a very first step. Then you will be connecting to the domain. So what are the domains available? You will be seeing here. If you have already configured any domain under this Informatica developer tool, then the details will be appear here. So it will show you what are all the domains available. That you, as I have already configured it, you are seeing this available domains is. If at all you are, like I said, if you are going from scratch, then you have to use this add button. So you will be adding a new domain with all the details. So D and localhost is your host name. So here your host name would be your server name. So if you are working on your server, let's say DL Informatica or any sort of server you are working on, Dev Informatica, so that server information you will be providing here, and the domain name and port number will be provided by administrator. So admin guys will be providing what is the domain name and what is the port name to connect and what is the host name. So we will be getting the details. Whoever configured the Informatica server in our project, we will be getting the details from them. According to that, we will be providing those details. And once you have done, so as it is already having the name, so it is not providing, let's say I have provided some wrong domain name and trying to test the connection. So it will try to check whether that domain is available under, any domain is available under this localhost 8787 port or not. So it will be adding with this domain name DS under your domain section. So you can test the connection and respectively it will be connecting to that domain. So here is the domain details available. Edit. Here is your domain name. Enter the name, host name and port name to connect it. So once that is done, you will be having the available domains. You will be selecting the domain. So whenever you have a domain in place, you will be browsing to a domain to get what are all the domains available, what are all the repositories available under the domain. So these two model repositories are available. So I will be selecting a respective repository. So if you have configured with the multiple repositories under your domain, then you will be selecting appropriate one. So you have selected DQ and OK. Once you have selected the repository, then you will be prompting for next level details to have. So here the next option is providing that what are all the folders you are going to connect. So how many projects you want to have in your repository. Let's say you are working on multiple projects on same repository by using same repository, then you will be selecting the appropriate project folder. Let's say you have a phases wise project, as you have agile methodology you are implementing, or any sort of multiple projects are going on IDQ for the same client. So at that time people will be having a repository in place and they will be using their own folder. So usually we will be selecting the available folders and we will be clicking on finish. So whenever you click on finish, the data quality repository will be added, and under that you will be seeing this two folders. So that is how we will be connecting to repository whenever you start from scratch. So this is the step will be used to connect your repository. And next you will be having couple of options available. So whenever you connect it to repository, assume you do not have any project folders, because as you started new project, then what all the things you need to know, because there is no project folder exists as nothing is been started off. At that time you have to go to repository folder, repository, and you need to right click on it and new project. So we will be starting our project under the project folder. So whenever you click on project, new project, it prompts to provide the project name. So what are all the things we are implementing as part of our project, we will be having under this project folder. And next we will be prompting for permissions. Let's say you, like I said, you are working on multiple projects, like on multiple projects for same client. At that time you will be having option to create multiple projects on same repository, but you can select the appropriate permissions for appropriate persons. Let's say I am working on 10 IDQ 103 and another person Arun is working on 104. Then in administrator, whenever we are having, he will be creating that permissions. So whenever the folder structure is taking place, then he will be adding all this username who is working on what. So only those persons can be accessed. So that is how these permissions will come into picture in our project folder. So once we have done with the new folder, then we will be clicking on finish, so that your new project folder will be added, which is empty folder, nothing is there. So comparing to existing folder, you have all the structures, but whenever you started from scratch, you do not know what are all the things available. So whenever you're starting your project and start adding the data objects and start adding the mappings, so here is the option we will be having. Right click on the project folder, new, and here you will be having the available options, available objects to create. You could have sub project under the main project. Let's say you have a project, within that you have maintaining multiple projects, then you can create a project under a project folder. So again it will be acting as a new project. So based on the requirement you are working on, you will be going for this. And likewise folder, so this folder also contain the same structure like how you will be having for project. So this will be used for subject area, subject specific you are working, like let's say you are working on customer objects and product objects, and you are working on orders objects. So if you are having such kind of subject area wise um, data quality rules you are implementing, then you will be going for folder. So you will be having, like I am doing deduplication on customer objects which I am getting from the source. So then I will be creating all the data quality implementation under that particular folder, and I will be adding all the data objects in that folder only, and I will be implementing mappings, applets accordingly in that particular folder. So that helps us to distinguish what are all the rules we are working on. Like I said, if you are working on particular thing like address validation only, then you will be taking all the things in address validation folder, and you will be implementing all the data quality rules related to address validation, and you are prompting for all standardization across your application. You may maintain a separate folder for that. In that you will be having all kind of standardization techniques, then you can use those standardization techniques. So this will be used to distinguish your area you are working on. So that is a folder we will be having. And next one we will be having called logical data object. So this logical data objects we will be creating whenever you are you require a customized view with a logic implemented with it. So we will be relating this with the view, how we will be having in a database view. So whenever we are prompting for a view, that indicates you are combining couple of sources and you are coming up with a generic view. So if you want to use a generic view, generic column structure, generic table structure, if you want to use by combining multiple tables, then you will be prompting for view. So like how you will be going for view in Informatica data quality, if you want to have a generic table structure to use in multiple places. So whenever you are getting that generic table structure, you may apply business logic. That option we will be having. So we will be discussing logical data object, how we will be using. We will be discussing in detail. But to high level to understand about this option, this logical data object will be used to create a customized data object structure. Within that we can apply business logic. So we can apply couple of transformations, like how you will be implementing mapping. So same way you will be implementing in logical data objects to come up with the structure out of it. So we will be seeing that with a good example to understand the concept. So to high level view, it is a customized view. So we will be coming up with a generic customized view to reuse across the application. So whenever you require such kind of customized structure, so we will be going for logical data object and we will be creating that customized structure and we will be reusing that data object in wherever it required. So that is about your logical data object, and another one is a data object. So here we will be using a term called data object. It's a generic term. So comparing to Power Center, the data object is segregated into two ways. One is sources and one is target. So there we will be having separate section. So you will have to add if you want to add any object, source data object, we will be going for source. It will be going and sitting in your source structure. And whenever you are prompting for a target table, then you have to add in target. In IDQ, we will be adding a data object that we can use either as a source or as a target. So here we will not have any separate section to maintain which one is source, which one is target. We will be adding a data object and we will be using it as a source or target based on the requirement. We will be using it. So that is a generic thing we have in IDQ compared to Power Center. Here we will be not having any segregated thing or distinguished thing between sources and target. Here we will be adding as a data object which act as a source or target. Based on our requirement, we will be using that accordingly. So that is a data object, and the next one is your content set. So this content set is used to determine your source data set. So either it is a classifier, either it can be a reg expressions to determine your source data. So if you want to have a labeling or you want to parse anything or you want to classify your language, so at that time you require some sort of reference data available. So that reference data we will be using, and we will be using this content set whenever you are um, like whenever you are classifying, whenever you are examining, or whenever you are cleansing your data. So let me take you to the example so that you will be having a better idea how the content set will be. So here the content set will looks like this. So here the content set will be having character sets and classifier models, pattern set. So all these such kind of models we will be having. So this classifier model will be used to classify your language. So that we will be understanding when we are looking at to classifier transformation. So Here this classifier model to determine your language. For example, you are working on multi countries data information. Let's say you have a Facebook and any social websites, so we can access in any country. So you can type in any language, right? And you are working on such kind of project, and you want to classify in the sense you are grouping together. So you want to understanding what are all the things are coming. You are classifying the data. So you are naming the data. So you are naming the data to understand what are all the things we are getting. So let's say you are getting Arabic, US English, UK English, Spanish, Japanese, all such kind of comments, description information you are getting from social website. And this classifier model will help us to determine what is such kind of language. So here we will be adding some sort of example descriptions that we will be getting from Informatica, that used to examine, like Informatica will provide us as much as words we will be having in that language. So that help us to determine which language it is, whether it is US English, Spanish, French. So based on the language we will be having, based on the words matching in the description, we will be labeling it as a country name. So what country it belongs to, that language belongs to which country. So this content set mainly used to classify, or it will be cleanse your data. Used to have cleanse data, there will be again separate different models available. So this is one example called classifier, and we'll be having pattern sets. So this will be using in set parser transformation. Sorry, parser transformation, we will be using this pattern sets and probabilistic models, regular expressions. So what are all the regular expressions we will be having whenever you are working on any probabilistic model in any of the transformation. So in whenever you are working on any such kind of transformations, let's say classifier, character set is for labeler. So whenever you are working on such kind of transformation, it will refer to this content set. So whatever the content set we will be having in our system, in our content set, it will refer to this, and it will try to assess the data. You are labeling the data, then it will try to get what are all the data available. If you're passing any data, then it will try to check what are all the patterns available. And you are again passing any data, regular expressions will be picked. So the content set talks about the reference information to determine, to classify your source data set. So this will be used in many transformation. So based on the requirement, respective content set will be picked. So here we will be again revisiting this content set whenever you are working on that respective transformation. Whenever you are working on classifier models, we will be coming to this place, and whenever you are looking into labeler and parser, then we will also look into character sets and pattern set and token sets. So we will be coming this to this point. So to have a high level understanding, that content set talks about your reference information to determine, to examine your source data. So this will it will help us to it will help us to examine your data and classify data. So here action will be performed with this uh, token content sets. So that is about your content set. So again, if might be this is little confusion whenever we are not seen any such kind of example. So to have high level, just keep in mind that this content set will be used to have while we are performing any classification, while we are parsing, labeling, or examining the data, you will be using this content set. So how we will be helping this? Then we will be relating with the transformation to have better understanding on this. So that is a content set, which is a very vast topic. So we will be covering that in detail in our transformation level. When we are going with that, we will be covering that. And the next topic is your reference table. So this reference table will be used to have a reference information. So here reference data, here it is a reference data which used to examine your source information. It used to examine or assess or classify your source data. For that we will be going for content set, and this reference data is different. Reference table data is different. So this reference table data will talks about whenever you have to maintain such information to have some reference across your application. Let's say you have a business units in your project, and in the from source system you are getting short forms like two digit value you are getting from source, and you want to maintain descriptive information in your target. So at that time you will be defining all the business units available in your project, and you will be defining respective description to it, and you will be creating a table with what is the expected value and what is the valid value for it, what is the return value for it. So usually reference table will be maintained two columns as a mandatory. So you can have more than two, but it is a two columns as a mandatory. One is expected value column. Second one is what is a valid or return column. So whenever you are maintaining reference data in your reference table, it will try to validate with the expected values column, and if it found, then it will pick your description, relevant description. So whenever you are maintain a reference data for your project, it is completely related to your project. So what are all the reference data you have to maintain across the application, then we will be defining and we will be using that accordingly. So that is one example, business units, and you can also relate with the unit country information. Let's say your customer came up and just maintain all the country information and territory information. So we will be having country and territories for few countries, and whenever you find any territory like Puerto Rico is one territory in US. So if you find Puerto Rico, then you have to replace that with USA because it is belongs to USA. Then such kind of information, it's a completely related to your project. It's a project specific reference information. So based on the client provided information, you will be creating a reference table and you will be using that in your project. So that is the use of this reference table. And next option we can able to create is transformation. So this transformation is your reusable transformation. Whenever you have whenever you have a logic to implement in a transformation, and you want to use that particular transformation across the mapping or maplets, then you will be going for this transformation. So like how you will be having in your power center, the same way we will be having here transformations. It's a reusable transformation. And here a schema. So this schema will be a dependent, it's a dependent object for your data processor. So the data processor, we can't, here we will be creating transformation. Under the transformation there is another there is a transformation available that we call data processor. So whenever you are creating the data processor, so the data processor will be used to convert from one format to another format. Let's say you are prompt to convert JSON to XML, or XML to relational, or JSON to COBOL, COBOL to XML. So any sort of conversion whenever you are going for, first of all we need to provide the definition. What is the definition of your source structure? Let's say you are going with XML, then you have to provide what is your source structure. That means XSD you will be providing for that particular XML. So whenever you are prompting such kind of conversion, we will be going with schema. So in this schema, we will be maintaining the definitions. JSON you are going with, then JSON definition will be created under your schema object. And if you are going with XML, then XSD will be created under your schema. So the schema talks about your definition. So whenever you are going for a conversion, it require what is a source definition. So that source definition will be created under this schema. So we will be using this schema whenever we are going for any conversions. So we will be seeing this how whenever we having data processor transformation class, so that at that time you will be having understanding about how the schema object will be created. So the schema is to maintain the definition of what are all the conversion you are prompting for. That definition we will be maintaining here. So that is the schema object, and next one is your mapping. So this mapping is a component which will be used for integration. So whenever you are prompting for loading source data to target, like you can apply any logic in between source and target. So while you are integrating your data, so this mapping will be used to integrate the data from source to target. So like how you will be having in your power center, the same way this will work. So there is no difference at all. So we will be having this mapping for integration of your data. And another one will be having maplet. So the maplet is again same thing, like we can relate the maplet with the power center maplet. This is a reusable component. Whenever you want to apply a reusable business logic across your application, then you will be prompting for maplet. You will be creating a maplet and you will be reusing that maplet across your application. Wherever it required in any number of mappings, you will be going for that. We can relate with an example, like whenever you have a country information and you are standardizing that country. So you can create one maplet to do the standardization, and you can reuse that maplet across the application wherever the country standardization is required. So like how you can relate with any use case. So that is your maplet. And next one, we can able to create scorecard. So before going to scorecard, we will cover profile. So because it's depending on the so scorecard is dependent on profile. So profile we will have seen in yesterday's class. So how we are going to do the profile and what are all the profile results we will be getting, and this will helps us to know the insight of your source data. You will be knowing insight of your source data by column basis information. So you will be having the profile result in place. What is the unique values, what is the null values, right? So in order to review such kind of profiling results with the business, it may not be feasible because your business client may not understand the technical terminology, like what is a unique value, what is a unique percentage, what is a null value, what is the data type. So if you are providing all such kind of technical words, your business client may not understand. So that is the reason Informatica Data Quality came up with a scorecard. So we will be having scorecard option available. So this scorecard will be used to showcase your profiling result in a graphical representation format. So whatever the profiling results you are seeing for the source data object or any data object, you will be converting that into a graphical representation format, which will be understand by the non-technical person. So whenever you are going for a business, you will be taking your scorecard with you so that he will be easily understand with the use of bar charts. So here your scorecard will be represented in a bar chart, and there is no technical terminology will be used under your scorecard. So all the generic terms we will be using. So at this level, to understand what is a scorecard is, it's a graphical representation of your profile. So in our next classes we will be having this scorecard. So we are planning to do have the profiling and scorecard together. So we will be having after that, after these options we will be discussing that. And that is about your scorecard. And another one is your data services. In Informatica data quality, this is a major and very efficient feature, which is your data service. So this data service enables your reusable code to be accessed by third party services. So if you are using third party services like MDM and any Java related tools, or any Java code you are using in your front end application. So if you are using such kind of different application in your project and you want to use Informatica data quality code, Informatica data quality rule you want to use, then the data service will help you. So this data service is all nothing but your web service. So whenever you are prompting for any reusable code need to be exposed and to be used by other third party tools, so we will be going for this data service. So we'll be exposing it as a web service, and we will be using that WSDL in any third party applications available in under your project. If you have Java, you will be integrating with Java. If you are MDM, you will be adding it as a cleanse function in MDM. So like how we will be using. So that is your extensive feature. So we'll be having that feature in IDQ is extensive feature. Regardless environment, you can use that data quality rule. So that is a major option we will be having in Informatica data quality. And another one is your workflow. So again, workflow is the same like your Power Center workflow. This will be used for scheduling, like we will be connecting what are all the mappings we need to have for that particular subject area. So we will be creating a workflow, and underneath of it we will be connecting what are all the mappings need to be run as part of that particular subject area. So the same thing how we will be having in Power Center, here we will be having workflow, but here we will not have any sessions concept. Here we will be having mapping task. Here session is nothing but mapping task. So we will be discussing that terminology whenever we are working on workflow class. So that is your workflow. This is to connect all your mappings and scheduling that particular workflow. And the next one is your application. So this is a mandatory thing we need to implement whenever you are prompting for any scheduling workflow in your from your project. So you should need to deploy it as an application, then only you can able to schedule that particular workflow. Otherwise you will not have any visibility to run it. So here why it is an application is a mandatory is whenever you are creating any sort of code, any sort of mappings, maplets and creating workflows, that will be visible to repository, model repository only. And whenever you are scheduling, it need to have what exactly I need to schedule. So that scheduling thing can be will be done by your data integration service. So in order to schedule your workflow from your Informatica developer tool, we need to deploy it as an application. At that time, an application object will be created under your repository. At the same time, it will be captured in data integration level. So here we need to have a underline, like it will be created under your application and the details of your application will be captured at data integration level. So here you will be having a data integration service, and just showing that option. So here you will be having data integration service, underneath of it you will be having applications. So that means that you should go for an application. So there is not, so you can't have any option to run the workflow without deploying it as an application. So that is the reason it is a mandatory thing which is came up in configuration level also. So when whatever the things you are deploying in an application, so that will be captured under your data integration service, and that will be under your applications tab. So whenever you log in into admin console, under data integration service, under applications, you will be seeing available applications. Running indicates you can able to schedule it, and failed or stopped indicates that workflow or that a workflow cannot be scheduled. So this will be having some sort of flexibility, like whenever you are having any custom or whenever you are having any workflow and you do not want to visible or do not want to schedule at that time, then you just stop that application so that the code will be existing but you can't able to reach. So that is the option we will be having. So let me log in here. So this is a key thing we will be creating under your developer tool. So whenever you are having any whenever you are having your data integration service, so whenever you have your data integration service, so by default Informatica is having this application stack. That means it's a mandatory step. It's a configuration level, a mandatory option you need to follow. So here your application is in running mode. Whenever you are deployed as application, by default it is in running mode. That means running state indicates it's available to schedule, and here the workflow status is enabled. So that means it's ready to schedule. And whenever you do not want to have such kind of, you do not want to use this workflow anymore, then you just go to Glow and click on stop application. So the code will be there in your developer tool, and like the metadata information is available in your repository, and the application details are available under your data integration service, but you are not able to run or schedule the job. So that is a thing, that is a flexibility we will be having, like starting and stopping. So if you want to have some functionality disable, then we will be going for this. So that is the applications thing we will be having in your developer tool. So these are all the things we can able to create as part of your project. So these are all the objects available. And once you have done with everything, this your project folders look like all the objects are available: physical data objects and logical data objects, reference tables, schema objects, transformations. So all the things will be available once you have started implementing your project. So we will be having that soon in our recently created projects also. So we will be creating that in that project folder. So these are all the options we will be having in our object explorer, which you need to know before starting off your project, right? So that is the one thing. And another thing would be like, just we will be going through this, like we will be having importing option, exporting option available under file menu. This will be useful, like how you are going to use in Power Center. The same way, whenever you are importing any code from external files, then you will be going for import, and if you want to take a backup of your code, then you will be taking export option. So that import of export option is available, and under edit we'll be having, like, if you want to validate your mapping, we'll be having, and compatibility level will be having. So this option will let you know which what are all the versions are compatible with this, what are all the power center versions compatible with this IDQ version. Currently we are in 961, so latest 3 versions will be compatible. So that is the thing you should be knowing whenever you are working on 961 version. So it will start with 961, 951, 911, 910. So the latest 3 versions will be compatible with your IDQ tool. Let's say you are working on 10.1 version, then here compatible level list will show like Power Center 10.1, 961 and 951. So latest 3 will be compatible with. So why we are getting this compatibility level, why we will be having this level is, let's say for example we have started with 961 version. So our project started with 961 version, and you also having Informatica data quality and Power Center, both are there in your project. And there so for few features, so you are going for a few features need to be implemented. So in 10.1 version those features are available. So at that time few projects will prompt for only IDQ upgradation, not Power Center upgradation. So the Power Center will be in 961 version, and your IDQ version will upgrade to 10.1 version. At that time, whenever you having the whenever you having an option called like you will, whenever you are using that IDQ code in your Power Center, the so it will be maintaining the compatibility. So Informatica is maintaining latest 3 versions to compatible with IDQ. So that is the option we are getting, because most of the projects we will be implementing the business rules, data quality rules in IDQ, and we will be migrating that to Power Center. So that is the general thing we will be applying. So that is a regular thing we will be applying. So in order to maintain it, Informatica is providing this option, like compatibility level is providing. So that is the one we will be having, and the rest will be like about your tool navigation and how you have to show, and if you are searching something you will be using this search option, and you are, if you are running any mapping, then this run mapping will helps. And you can also view data viewer. So whenever you want to see the data view at that particular point of time, then that data quality uh, data viewer option will be helpful. So you can select that particular object and you click on data viewer option. Usually you will be going with here. So you can also have from your run section. So you can always use this data viewer option actively whenever you are working on data quality projects, because each and every step you want to assess how the data is flowing. So Informatica data quality is providing a greatest feature, we can say, that is the data viewer. So wherever the how the data is flowing, you can easily understand. So you will not prompt for any debugging thing here, you will not. So whenever you are having debugger tool, so it will be like what are, you need to prompt for all the steps. So it will be creating the session in the backend, so all the things will be happen how you are going to schedule the workflow. So that is like time consumption and memory consumption operation. So here we will be having a data viewer. Straight away it will try to examine the and providing the results. So it's a user friendly option we will be having in your Informatica data quality. So that is the one we will be having. So you can do in the backend so that your result. So This is your result. So there itself I can see my result. So this will be very helpful feature in Informatica developer tool. So frequently you will be using this option whenever you are working on any data quality projects. And that is a run option, and then the window option we will be having this reset perspective. So this reset perspective option will be used whenever you are having your view, what are the view you are seeing at this moment, workspace, and this is a view we are seeing for properties, and this is a object explorer. Let's say you have mess up with all the things, and let's say you have closed all the things, and everything has been closed, and you don't have any clue how to open all, right, at that time. So if I start in the beginning, like whenever I started project, whenever I started using Informatica developer tool, it may be afraid of how we have to get all the windows back. So that option will be using reset perspective. So this will be a short useful feature. Let's say you have messed up with anything, I do not have any clue, just go for reset perspective. This will reset all your current view to a default view, so everything will be coming back. So how you have, whenever you open a tool, so the same view you will be getting here. So that is a option which is a small option, but it will be useful whenever you closed everything. And we'll be having another important option is preferences. So these preferences we will be going in a separate class. So these are all the, we have couple of options available in this, like we will be talking about connections, all the things we will be talking about in separately. So here usually preferences will be used to have settings under your developer tool. So it can be relational connections or it can be data integration connections. So we will be going with each and every option where exactly this preferences settings will be useful. So these are all the options available, and another important thing is your help. So always, if you have any questions or any doubts on any particular topic, just go with search. So this will have all the information for you. So as a developer, we have to use this, because to understand in detailed way, these are all the options available in your Informatica developer tool. So now you can start using this tool. So you will be knowing what are the options available and where it will be available, so that you can start using this Informatica developer tool. Thank you.